Right now, state lawmakers are working on expanding access to medicine that can end the lives of terminally ill patients.
That's right. Senate Bill 68 is looking to increase access in a number of ways. So here to speak a little bit more on this new proposal, we have 9 News legal analyst Whitney Traylor. Whitney, good morning to you.
Good morning to you.
All right, let's start with the broad strokes here. What is the law in Colorado related to end-of-life options?
Right, so Corey and I were just talking about it. So in 2016, the voters overwhelmingly passed a law that allowed the legislature to pass what's called the End-of-Life Options Act, which essentially says, look, if you are deemed to have a terminal illness and you are determined to live, that you're going to live 6 months or less, you can go and get 2 doctors who will then prescribe or can prescribe this medication that you can then go and it will assist in an expedited death, if you will. And so the 2 doctors, it has to be within 15 days. So that's the law now. That's been the law since that passed in 2016.
This is really interesting. If you go back a couple years, Brittany Maynard and her husband really became kind of like the faces of this type of medicine. And I know everyone kind of followed that story. They had to move to another state to make it all happen. So it sounds like right now that lawmakers are trying to make this process easier for those in Colorado.
Yeah, they are trying to make it easier. So Senate Bill 68, which is really in committee, is saying that a nurse practitioner then, instead of just a doctor, can actually make this prescription. They're trying to drop the time period from 15 days to 7 days. So in other words, you can get 1 doctor and then within 7 days or 7 days later get another doc to do that. And then one issue, as you just mentioned in the case, was the residency requirement. So right now there is a residency requirement, and as far as I could tell, it just says a Colorado ID, a state license, something like that. They were pushing to have that residency requirement out, but it sounds like some of the sponsors thought that would be too much of an issue, so they took that out.
Okay, speaking of that, we know that obviously there's plenty of controversy around this bill here. Talk to me a little bit about the opposition on this.
Well, it's interesting because, like I said, the voters were pretty adamant about this in terms of the numbers that passed it, but it seems that there's some disability groups that are saying, look, this could be an opportunity that people are pressured into taking this drug, especially if they feel that they're a burden on their loved ones. And so there were some disability rights advocates that were against it, but there were 2 primary that came out as neutral. The Catholic Church came out. There's been people testifying the Catholic Church came out against it. So these some of the disability folks are saying, hey, this could put some undue pressure on folks. So the real idea here, and I've seen some of the commentary and how this has progressed, they're trying to go as slow as possible and make incremental changes so that it's not sudden. In fact, they were looking at 48 hours for the time period between doctors, and so they're, instead of 15 days, they wanted 48 hours. Now they've settled on seven days. You know, and the idea was that, look, somebody's in the midst of pain, they make a split-second decision. We do still want some waiting time.
Right.
So as far as I could see, I feel like they're going methodically and they're really thinking this through and trying to make these incremental changes.
So what happens from here?
So now it just cleared the Senate Health and Human Service Committee on a vote of 7-1. So now it still needs to be considered by the full Senate. They heard testimony, so I suspect this will go before the full Senate. I think it will pass, but there's still many hurdles to go before it becomes law.
All right, we'll be paying close attention to all of those different hurdles. Whitney, we appreciate you breaking that down for us.
Right.
Thank you.